don't even know where to put this bad boy. What is today, Monday or Tuesday? I think it's Monday. Is it Monday? I don't even remember. Oh yeah, it's Monday. Monday. Time to finish loading YouTube. Not excited about that at all. Alright, so I decided to put some things on YouTube in the event. TikTok is banished. What's up? I'm gonna put my gloss on because I'm always looking back at my videos going, why are my lips so ashy? One thing I don't like is I have dark lips. I've always had dark lips. And it's annoying. And I never wear lipstick, because I eat it off. And I ain't got time for all that reapplication stuff. So I probably put that on like once or twice a day. But welcome in. Hello. I'm just being nosy because I thought I saw a few people on doing lives and stuff. And I haven't been really as active because I've been knee deep. So I am in finals of my second master's program on my way to my PhD in clinical mental health, for those that don't know. So I study clinical mental health. I wrote a book about the firmament, which I actually, as soon as I'm done loading these YouTube videos, I need to go ahead and approve my final copy. It's been my final copy for like 2 weeks. And I'm sure my publisher is so sweet and so patient. They're like, you can take as long as you want. Like, we want to make sure it's right. And they gave me huge kudos on how well it was written and organized. Like, I paid for like a premium service and ended up doing much of the formatting myself for my first book. So I'm very proud. So doing that, trying to learn Spanish, living abroad. Hey. And what else am I doing? So much, just so much. Looking at possibly buying a house here in Spain. It's been crazy. But right now I'm loading YouTube because the fate of our TikTok. And it's just not the same over here. You know what I mean? So I figured, let me get some of my playlists over there. And we'll see what happens. So far they're just shorts. But hey, what's up, Shame? So far I'm deciding if I'm gonna permanently move over there or not, because I really want to have more intense conversations, and it just seems like I keep getting you know what I mean. So I'm looking at another place to park where I can have more of these uncovering the truth discussions, kind of like Candace Owen, but not so Candace Owen-y, because it's time. Like, the world is just very corrupt and we need to wake up. Yes, I have been in TikTok jail. They don't like me. I don't know what happened. I was rolling along there really, really well until about April of last year. So it's been almost a year where I've been just locked down. And that was also in the midst of me finding out the big historic revelation, which some people are kind of following and some people aren't. So I did fall off. I wasn't posting as much because that was just, whoa, that was pretty intense. And so I want to talk more about what I found and some of the historical findings that I did on my research in this firmament deep dive, the firmament study guide that I came out with. It's 29 days, fully illustrative, like with graphics and descriptions of how the sun sets, how we get eclipses, and it really uses the Bible to explain what I think a lot of people. Thank you for the love and the likes. Hey girl, hey, I see you dropping in here. I have to be more active and swinging by and giving you love and sharing more of your stuff, but I see you doing the DJ thing, doing your DJ thing. But yeah, so I think I was talking about my deep dives through the firmament led me to more deep diving and discovering our origin and how we can set ourselves free, like for real, not just, metaphorically speaking, but spiritually, psychologically, and physically through the law, and knowing who we are as a people and as a nation that has been, I think the back of my earring just fell off and went down to the spicy place. So pardon me while I figure out how I'm going to retrieve that so I don't lose my earring. Maybe I can find it somehow. And I'm of course wearing a what you call it? I don't make sure my girls are, but I'm wearing a onesie. So I don't know where it's gonna end up. It's gonna end up somewhere, but I definitely felt it fall. I'm trying to feel for it. Anyway, so the book led me down this rabbit hole of figuring out who we are as a nation and how we can claim our freedom in the year of Jubilee, because it's the 50th year. All of God's people are traditionally set free. All of the debts are canceled. And so what a tremendous year to go ahead and ask for our liberty in the right way. Okay. So I was on live before talking about how it's not going to be anything involved with you having to give up your citizenship. And I would never recommend you doing anything like that. Anyway, I think it's kind of reckless. You want to keep your driver's license. You want to keep your passport. You want to keep your citizenship rights, privileges, but you want to be free. Yes, that's inclusive of, I want to word it the right way, because I don't want people to feel like just because you have it that you get it canceled. So under certain circumstances like taxes and education, and interest rates, yes, there should be a substantial discount or not at all. In a lot of cases, if you do the process the right way and as a collective, okay, it has to be as a collective. If you do it individually, you will just be harassed and it'll be nuts. So but there is a way to claim your freedom once you know exactly who you are as a people and where you are as a person, and how to unlock yourself from the birth certificate bond that you have, that your parent unwillingly signed you over to the state before you had a chance to acknowledge that, and tied you to endless debt of taxes and owing Caesar. And again, this is not about, our freedom is not about being set free from responsibility, because the Bible is very clear, and this is the biblical route to freedom. So if you're looking for another route and you're not religious, then I don't do this, because you will be sniffed out quite easily by myself and by the law. So don't do it. But you're free to do what you need to do. But God's watching. So let's do this with integrity. Let's see. I want to get dual citizenship ASAP. Yes, we can talk about that too, because I'm actually in Spain and I moved here over a year ago for that very reason. My lifestyle and my code of ethics were no longer in line with our current state of affairs. So I think it was during COVID, I started to see the writing on the wall really quickly. And while everybody, I first decided to kind of get rid of some of my houses and then live way beneath my means. And so I got like a really small 1-bedroom apartment, really humble, even overpaid for it, because I was just like, let me just get it because it's in Hawaii. Hey, bye. And I decided to sell it too. I was like, I'm out of here, because after COVID, I was like, things are gonna get kind of crazy. And so I moved here, long story short, to finish my education, but to also work on dual citizenship, because it's always good to have options, especially in a time like this. So we can talk about how you can pursue some visas in other countries. I mean, you don't necessarily have to come here. You're free to try it out. But in all honesty, I think that there are far better places that you could reside. And this is not a push off either, but Spain is not black friendly. Spain is not really foreign friendly, I should say. So you really kind of have to have thick skin to be here, because they are aggressive with their dislike for tourism and their dislike for passer-throughs. Once you get settled in, it's not as bad, but they're very, very kind of resistant to the idea of new peoples coming in and then settling. And so they already know how America is right now, with everyone wanting to be in another place. So yeah, there's that. I would highly recommend looking at some countries that align. I think one of the things that I did was I tried to find out which country. I first looked at Portugal. I lived in Mexico for about 6 months because I didn't want to be too far away from home. So I'm from Hawaii, for those that don't know. That's why I sound like this. So I didn't want to be too far from Hawaii and California, so I went to Mexico for a little bit. And while I liked it, I think I stood out too much. And I love like sticking out. I love being different in a crowd, but that was just too much. I needed a little bit more of an international vibe, a little bit more things to do at night, some options. And so there was just an opportunity and a good window for me to come check it out for like a year and a half. And so I jumped on it and I kind of perused first Portugal, and I decided against Portugal. But, ooh, Costa Rica. I actually did some language immersion in Costa Rica as well. And I think that's what I was getting at, is picking a place that financially makes sense. Because that's, I mean, if you're going to be moving to another country, you don't want to get yourself, why go to Switzerland and suffer? So go somewhere that's economical, but that is modern enough where you have transportation, you have an airport, the infrastructure, you can get mail. It's like all of those small things. I was looking at Panama City because that's a big up and coming one. It has been for a while, but there's still so much growth going on right now. Like even if you got something outside of the city, it would be amazing if that's the kind of life that you want. More space to kind of do your homestead stuff. But anyway, just finding a place where the language barrier isn't so difficult. There's a lot of people who go to just random places, Europe, and like the Dutch, we love them, but like you can't, like it's just tough. It's just a lot tougher, and you'll struggle. So I had a natural proclivity, and I studied Spanish when I was in high school. So Spanish has always kind of been an undercoat of a language that I've admired, and I've always just kind of kept up with it. And although I'm not fluent, I understand a lot and I speak enough to survive and have basic conversations, like a natural conversation with somebody. But I wouldn't recommend, like for me, I knew Asia was out of the question because I wasn't into, I'm, no offense, I don't have the palate for the food. I can't get into exotic food, and I don't like seafood, period. So that would not be a good place for me, is Asia. So that was kind of one of the things. So you just got to figure out, what kind of weather do you want, what type of food, what type of people do you want to be around, and then you can kind of assess it from there. But in a time like this, if you have the opportunity, definitely consider. And let me know if you guys have any questions about anything of any of these topics. I'm kind of all over the place, which per usual, if you know me by now. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions about life abroad, transitioning, or how to get started, how to save, how to do some of the logistics, which is a nightmare, and maybe how to do some of the visa processes. Maybe I can help you out with some of that. But yeah, I was just sitting here loading some stuff up for YouTube. I don't know, is anybody on YouTube right now? Do you guys know what the vibe is over here? I just kind of been loading some of my shorts, as they call them, but some of my TikTok series on here. And then maybe I can show you guys the book, the Firm Believer book. Let me do that really fast. Hold on, let me put some more hashtags in this one. And then I'll show you just a preview of what Firm Believer looks like, so you can get an idea. So Firm Believer is the 29-day study guide. I was trying to have it ready for you guys for Easter and for Lent, but hopefully it will Oh, you have a book. Hey, Woods. Yes, I do. I finally, and that's where I was for a long time, I wrote Firm Believer. I call it Firm Believer. A 29-day study guide for the biblical earth, and explaining all the stuff that I went over, but in depth, doing showing you all the references in the Bible, showing you how the creation story has been perceived incorrectly as when we use the globe, and then walking through the book of Enoch and showing you a little bit more about the celestial elements, where heaven and hell is, the 10 layers of heaven, what the biblical earth would look like if the model was laid over, I think it's not the Mercator projection, but we have another map that I love to use. Let me see if I can pop it up for you guys really fast. It's one of my favorite biblical earth replications. It basically shows the earth on a flat surface. The UN uses it as their flag. A lot of international maritime corporations use this earth as their model, and it's just amazing once you see it. But the book is really good. I'm super proud of myself. I was just getting ready to show a little bit of it because I got to go through the final draft and approve it. But once it's gone, I will have it on Amazon. I don't really want it on there, but I'm going to have it on there for a minute until I can figure out. Of course, there'll be a link on my website, link in bio, to get on the alert list, and you'll know when it gets released. And preferably, I'd like for you to order it off of my website, which is an extra step. And then once I order all my author copies, I can put it in the TikTok shop and make it super easy. What does this one say? Very good. You need to be talking about it every single post, or at least mentioning it. Yeah, I know. I haven't even been on as much. I kind of dropped some things just to kind of keep it active. I'm starting to get some more traction after a long time of being off. But I put it in the captions. I don't really like the whole going hard promoting books. Like, it's just not my vibe at all. It's kind of like I'll leak it out and say things here or there, but I really want this to be for seekers, for people who really want to find it. And I kind of like, the more you really get down with me, the more you'll find out what I'm about, and the more you'll research it. So, because I can't stand when people come with a book and that's all they want to talk about. It's like, okay. And plus, I got 2 others coming right out of the chute. So I think once they're all done, then I can really be like, pick your poison. Pick your poison. And I didn't have these first 2 planned at all. Like, when I moved here to do my writings, I completely just had one book in mind, and that was kind of like a healing bio for everybody, to walk them through soul healing and how I healed and what helped me get through moral injury and generational trauma and injury and war and being in the military and serving and having to deal with the United States after the pullout of Afghanistan. Yeah, like, it was all this stuff of like, how do you heal after all of this stuff? And how do you heal through generational trauma? And I had went through rigorous soul healing journey myself, and I came out on the backside of it just completely awakened in a different way. Like, I've always had spiritual discernment. I've always been, deep in the word. It's like my lifeblood. Anyone that talks to me, I'm going to talk about God. I'm like, sorry, we're going to have a discussion. We're probably going to have a debate. But, I was just really blown away by how I learned the process of self-healing through prayer and meditation, and it completely changed my life. And so over the last 4 years, I've been tracking that journey, and that was the book. But then I decided to get on TikTok, and we transitioned from being dancers and having fun and just talking about, social relationship stuff, because I do a lot of EQ advising for corporations, or I did before I went back to school for a while, and organizations. And oh my God, when I got on TikTok, I don't know what happened to my algorithm, but I started finding a lot of flat earthers, and I I was like, okay, like, what does this mean? And the way that they were presenting information was so compelling. And I actually, thank you. I did read that. Asha, I like your faith. And that's great. I think it's super, super cool. I'm super proud of myself. Like, even though I didn't have those books. So anyway, I came across a bunch of flat earthers, and then they were incorporating the Bible with it. And of course, as a theologian, I'm like, you are not about to misrepresent my Bible. I will tear you up. Like, I was getting ready. I literally rolled up my sleeves and was like, let's go. So I felt like Lee Strobel a little bit. If you don't know about Lee Strobel, he was an investigative journalist back in the day. I might be aging myself, but he was an investigative journalist back in the day who was complete atheist. And he did the same thing I just did, where he was like, I don't believe in God. It doesn't exist, and I will prove it. And so he did deep dives into trying to find the Dead Sea Scrolls. And like, he just wanted to try to match all of the things that were prophecy that you could prove historically that prophecy says is true. Track down the kings, track down everything. You've got to find the book. It's The Case for Faith and The Case for Christ. He has two, I think he has more than 2 books now, but those were his 2 main series, The Case for Christ and The Case for Faith. So if you ever are questioning, if you're atheist and you're agnostic, or you're like, God doesn't exist, or the Bible isn't real, or man made the Bible, I highly, if you are a real researcher and you are true to your word and being unbiased and really wanting to learn something, then check out those 2 books. Even if it's a synopsis, throw it in ChatGPT if you don't want to pay for it. And just ask, like, tell me more about this book. Give me a summary. Where can I find supporting evidence in the Bible? Where can I find supporting evidence in the real world? Like, give me the resources that Lee Strobel used. Blah, blah, blah. Thank you for the heart. I love it. And anyway, so that's what I did, because not an investigative journalist, but I was definitely like, oh, it's about to go down. I know people are not on this internet, on my Jesus's internet, talking about the earth being flat. And when they started bringing up scripture, I was like, okay. And then they showed me the biblical earth model, and I was like, okay, let me just go back and read this again, but from the perspective that they're claiming, not from my own preconceived notions, not from what modern science taught me, but let me just be brave enough to park all of my, I don't know, I guess there are my facts aside. And so I put my facts aside and I took in their argument. And the more I took in their argument and the more I opened myself up to the lost text, because that's what you have to use. Well, not only do you have to use the King James Version of the Bible as a starter to understand what we're talking about, because the firmament, you will not find that word in the Bible. In most translations, you're going to find dome, sky, heaven. And it just doesn't translate the same. And then when you start digging into the Greek and the Hebrew and the Aramaic of what firmament means, that's where I went. And then when you start taking that on top of asking yourself, why were the lost books lost and where did they go? And why was the Apocrypha, a big section of the Catholic faith, the Catholic books, taken out of our Bible? The Catholics have it in their Bible. We have different Bibles. And yes, God is right above us. The earth is his footstool. And that was one of the scriptures. I believe that's Isaiah, That was one of the scriptures that was used. And people are like, footstool, that's just imagery. And I'm like, anytime God explains something, he uses accurate descriptions. Never is he going to use something that doesn't match or jive. So footstools are flat on the top. You have to park your feet on them. So they're not going to be circular ball like the balls that we do exercises on. No, God's not silly. So he tells you right there, the 4 corners of the earth, that's a quarter laid flat down. And I just had to look at it from that perspective of like, it was so bizarre to let go of that thought, but I made a commitment that God's word is the truth. And no matter what I think I know. I definitely had to admit I didn't know as much as I thought I knew. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm explaining it the right way, but it's kind of, my mom would say that you're so smart, you're stupid. Like, you can't, and I come across this a lot, and this is why I have to just like punch people in the throat when they come to my page, because I really want to like knee jerk them, like just help them to see in kind of a tough love way. Thank you for the hearts. A tough love way of, don't be so stupid that you miss the plot of the movie. Like, if I, as a studied, and I have this teasing thing where I say I'm a degreed theologian. I am definitely a degreed theologian. And I could talk about what that means, but I'm kind of doing it like tongue in cheek, being funny, of like, even my smart ass self, yes, I did say that, had to take a step back and really look at things the right way. Because, someone's like, why are you trying to prove science wrong? And I'm like, I'm not trying to prove science wrong. Science is proving itself wrong. And you can go to my page for all the reasons why they've been debunked when you break it down. But my job is not to prove science wrong or to prove anybody wrong. My goal and my objective for everything always is to prove that God's word is true. And that our goal is not to trust and take man's word to heart. Like, people who come across my comments will die on the cross that they have not been deceived. And that's fine. But you can't really argue or have a debate if you are not unbiased. Like, it just doesn't work. Like, what's the point? You're not coming here to actually learn. You're not coming here to actually open your mind. You're not coming here to actually understand or hear what someone is saying. You're just coming with your argument, and you want to try to force someone to your argument. Like, you came on my page. I'm not going to your page. I'm not pushing you, telling you need to take the biblical earth and shove it in. Never have I ever forced anyone to accept my reality, because it's just that. You have to have faith, and you have to understand God's word. And if you're a Christian, you have to decide for yourself which word is going to be more true. Am I going to look stupid and appear like I've completely lost my mind? Or am I going to not deny Christ by the third crow? 3 times. And this is just talking about the biblical earth. Wait until the mark of the beast comes. Okay, so when the mark of the beast comes, which is a mark we are not supposed to take at all. It'll be a mark of life or death. No, the COVID vaccination was not it. You will not have a choice. It will be very clear. It will be very clear that if you do not take this mark in your forehead or in your hand, first thing's going to happen, you'll be denied access to the things that you need. The Bible's very clear on that. Those who refuse to take the mark you're basically going to be committing suicide, because you won't be able to go grocery shopping. You won't be able to function. They're going to tie everything to digital currency, which will be locked up in somewhere. And they're really pushing this. So if you thought, I think the COVID was nothing more than a test. Failed. Okay. Test failed. Many of us failed that test. But now that we're awake, and now that we understand, some people enjoy blindness over sight. It's cozy, because blindness keeps you safe. They've done tons of studies on this where people are gaslit into changing their answers, even though they can physically see that it's false, but the power of the group forces them to change their mind because they don't want to appear wrong, or they don't want to not be accepted. And this is such an outrageous claim that most people cannot publicly. I have so many people on my Facebook, and I'm kind of been over there more now of torturing my friends and family more. Like, it's one thing to be brave in front of strangers, which is how I kind of got my virality on here. And now I'm starting to like invite my friends and family into the conversation, which some of them knew I was having these conversations, and they're kind of like, oh, that's cute, she's kind of having this little thing. But like a year and a half later, I'm still on the kick, and I can see how time is collapsing on us and we don't have a whole lot of it. So I've been like telling them, like just dropping some of my videos on there and just kind of seeing what's going to happen. And I'm going to get to the point about how they are, I know that they're watching because I can see the number counts, but they won't comment. And it's because, we're all connected. We all know each other. So if you like it or you say something, it's going to expose you that you might be turning a leaf. And so I'm just staying on them. I'm like, I don't care. I'm no longer, not that I was before, but I don't care about, the physical, the visible proof that people are watching my content, because it's there. And it's even in the lives. Like, you come in the lives, not a whole lot of people. When I leave the lives, let me tell you, it says that I have like thousands of people that go past my screen who stop and watch. So you can't, people aren't always going to expose that they want the truth. And so my job is just to put it there, park it, and you can come and nibble and you can come eat it. And so Woods, if you're still in here, that's the whole goal. Like, I'll kind of make some announcements about the book and I'll say it and then I'll let it lie. And